How yeah you will lay a desire. Then I'd wear power. President via together this again. I say, oh, me am right. And by doing you, I'm a part of my trade there. Well, on it goes away. Alas, I go that Gianna, we say you. Papa Mora, get me up when anywhere, Momba Sivole. L'arrangeur parmi national, très trop fort. Puis après, mais on va essayer de sauver des mots. À moi, ça il faut. Papa, il là, petit, l'oiseau fait son nid. Kaidaka. Bena taja posa gogo mambo panjagu Apo blo akafwe Kwa apo sa nyoka fwe Pe apote mwa bandi yopo kle yukiye Nyonjo si mwen Posko kata tuyo kwe atinyo diongo Emo o Nesse tokan Kwisi izo apokoke Wede yeble Koworia Nakana salude Postu ojata tuyo kwe atinyo diongo Emo o Nesse tokan Na kwisi izo apokoke Wede yeble Koworia kanike Na konkete nyambe wewe Na nyonsa anfeble ane Eyajo Salu waja, yes you have to work. Are you Are you now? Taibo Bodaji, I know we say you over. I want to you come on, need a boy. Again, yes, I'm never been waggy. Hey, Imo, am I getting one of what I guess me I've done and it well. Oh, ow. Say, Bobo, that Giano, and I will say you. So, like it, I'm going to never went. Netoni and Rayo. Hey, are you? A book, just a word, yeah, I'm a walking about. Kaidaka, when it was to work out popular, let you know halfway. I just know. This is what I say. Fuck! Taibo, yeah. You like to write them one by one, them one better. Tell it to die by Botamu, Tanwada. Daniel Papa, bring a gate, Baka on Lage, the PSC, the PSC. The Tonya Sito, you can not Moana, there's a board was a Pressio, Mango, Balibo, that Giano, and I will tell you over. I will. Saibo. Iba tu agaja bla edu eso sei. Aje kwana le ya gba tu ana agbonyo si iwoke. Wejo, Ibo, Saibo boba. Ide bo pamba bu ejo mi banglo. On the client ya bo like ba de noa. Jojo wa se. Maniana sur les temps, clé soulé. Saibo de Giano, and I will say you over. I'm done in it. So away. And no Russell, K-Bay Gospel. South Africa, your fault, your west. Thank you for your work, and my one. I'm the Pope, and Yagu. Don't feel it, I say, oh, Clavoyon. Say, back in work, we are coming. Saibo de Giano, and I will say you over. Aba pepo swelu ni de swelu. Kwa muzo manje tota siko bala. Kabo jo ase. Pepo swelu muzo bloke. Say ya re ase, pa ye no. Gen one day ye. Yo pample yo se mo le ya now. Ariwo ase o pa ye. Amo amora da o. Saibo dekiano ana wisi eyiwo. Abuso rulo di o manye. So pelu ni we. Saibo ba. Saibo dekiano ana wisi eyiwo. Mo pop man down le meri. We dan yo man do seru. When you know I say it's a mayo. That was where you see also won't when you Amora Shinola say
Welcome back. Thank you, Samson. So I hope my audio is going well. So if you can share this video, please do so. I don't know what happened, but that's what we're here for. That's what we're here. We don't mind that. If we have some technical issue, that's fine. We'll do what we can and make sure that we have information for you. So we want to thank you very much for staying with us. Please stay with us here. It's going to be very interesting here tonight. Samson to LIBERIA Pub Radio. Okay, so let me go back before I got I don't know, technically interrupted here. Let's go ahead. So anyway, let's go back to Toad Town. This is a very serious business. Those of you that are just joining us, if you weren't here before, just share the video. I'll repeat it, but just give me a moment here. Let me finish my conversation here, then I will repeat it. But if you can share the video, we'll appreciate it. So anyway, in Toad Town now, if you are unable to pay your tax, as I was saying earlier, the kinds of treatment that you're going to get from the people, the government in total, and the parliament chief and the messenger and stuff, that you'll be surprised. I've witnessed, as a young man in total, young boy, very young, if you don't pay your taxes, they bring you in the middle of the town and make sedimental rocks, those sharp rocks, they make them into a pyramid. And they make you bend your knees and put your hand behind your back and look directly into the sun. You're going to stay there until somebody feels sorry for you and pay the $10. If not, they throw you in jail and bring you back again. They don't do it at night though. They'll wait till the sun gets up. They have another system where they have two stakes about maybe an inch in diameter. A little bit less than an inch in diameter, 3/8 or so, whatever you want to call it. But they have those stakes and they put it right onto your shin, and they tighten one end and they keep squeezing it, and you yell, person yelling, grown men yelling, begging for people to come and pay the $10 for him to get out. And the reason why I know this well, because I've always had issue with my mom. She will go, whatever little thing she sells, she always have that $10 underneath her pillow. Even it doesn't matter whether I need it or not, she will always have it. She always said, whatever somebody, you hear somebody up there in the courthouse when they're yelling, if I'm here, there's $10 for that person. And she did it two or three times. And these people collected money. The parliament chief, the town chief collected money, give it to the parliament chief take it to Zlet Town where they have the district commissioner. And it seemed to me, the district commissioner at the time, they always people sent from Monrovia. They are not crown people, but they send them from Monrovia. And they come and take the money to Zvedru. Then they themselves will take that money to Monrovia. What happened? I don't know. What do these people do with that money? I don't know. But let me read most of the stuff they said Tubber did for us. Okay. Additionally, the Tubber administration expand. Okay, let me go back. A lot of good things. Tubba did. There's no question. They're all in history. Among the accomplishment, the Tubba administration instituted free public elementary and high school education and subsidized up to 50% tuition, books, and board for all college and university students throughout the country. Good. Good. Okay. Begin construction of a new compound for the University of Liberia, moving it from Monrovia to Fendale, so as to allow a greater number of students from all strands of society to enter university. Good. Okay. All right. So they went up there in the paper here. They explained a lot of good things Tubba did. But what I want you to notice also, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Unless you're going to tell me that the coup party decided to separate the American Liberians from the natives. But look on that board. All of the names, all of the people, most of them, they are of American Liberian descendant. What happened? What happened? Why were they not Liberian? Bagababayao, Yakabro, Kumadako, whatever name that is among them. The names they have here, let's look at the names. And I'm asking you not to take the Congo country role here tonight. That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making, because these people came out and making this into a history. And not only making it into a history, but they're also making other Liberians to be barbaric. Why? And I first started here. What they have done, they have on the list, on the picture, the picture that is showing up here. Okay? They have everybody listed. Some of them, I know about three of them that were not killed on the South Beach, but they have them here. And the question that I asked earlier, I know of one man from Toll Town that was killed that night during the coup in defense of the president, in defense of Tuwi party. They call him Bebo. And those of you that are from the Jida community, you know the name Bebo. It's not a stranger to you, but that was his father. He was killed that night, tussling his gun with Wesson. But his name, you're not going to find his name here. Besides that, there were two other army personnel. I believe one was from Bon County, another one most likely from Lofa County. They were killed. They were coming along with really, according to the story, from behind the mansion coming to the mansion, and they were taken out along with Rayleigh. They put Rayleigh names down here. They didn't put these people's name down. Why? And when you do this, then there's no longer history. Then it's history being described to fit you. It's history. It's not Liberian history because it's not complete. If you're going to write my comment, and the concern is if you're going to write this and try to memorialize these people, and you say these are people that were killed from the Tubba administration, okay, that's fine. But these three people that I named, they were also killed. One of them I know very well, and it's no hidden secret within the community, in my own area, that this man was killed that night in defense of the Tubba administration. His name is not on here. Okay, but let's go further. So why these people? Because if you read this thing, the young man, you have no clue. You've been reading about it, you've been hearing about it. Oh, the people, Doe and his people took over, and the American Liberian rules and things. That why were they doing that? Why were they even involved? And I will tell you this. I just told you about growing up in Toll Town. So when we grew up, my brother and I came to Monrovia doing nothing good, going to school here and there. He went back home, and at a very young age, joined the army and what have you, came back. So while he was in the barracks, Pa came in and they started preaching. And their preaching started catching on fire. Back in 1976, the Liberian government commissioned huge number of army personnel, giving them rank. Some of the people, including my own little brother, was given rank. I believe he was a corporal. Oh, he was dancing. Other people were giving promotion to lieutenant in Liberia. Dancing. People were dancing. Army people were dancing all over because they have gotten promotion. A day later, it was announced publicly that those promotion was being rescinded in the army. Now these people, that some of them that got promotion to the captain, to lieutenant, they're going back to being NOCO. Why you think these people were involved? Have you even thought of that? We were being in the barracks. Like I said, I grew up in the barracks. If what I'm saying here, if most of you have never heard it before, please say so. I grew up in the barracks. But then when I become a little bit older and things like that, I thought, well, me, I gotta act like Congo man. I don't want to be bothered with the barracks people that's still country people. Even though my brother lives there. But my father and my mom, when they come to visit, I say, hey, y'all go to the barracks. That's where the country people stay. You can't stay with me, Congo man. True story, folks. This is it's sad. It's very sad. But I'm not alone, because this is the only way those days that you can even move anywhere. You have to live with somebody to clean your chamber, because those days most people don't even have toilet. So the caca in the bucket, and you as a houseboy will go and clean the bucket. All your kids go to school, then you go in the afternoon school, or you go to night school. This is the society of Liberia. And here they wrote here, the economy was fine. Economy for who? Whom economy is fine? I was working in a store as a store boy, making $35 a month. Whose economy you talking about? Whose economy? In order for me to have a good bed, I have to go into LPA or LAP, whatever name it was. Whose economy you're talking about? Not only that, the logging company in Granjide, huge amount of money coming from that cigar company. What were they doing with it? Total, a whole chiefdom, no high school. Most of the young people in Granjide that I know of, when you graduate, when you finish with elementary school, you have to go to Zwedru for further education. And going to Zwedru, most of the people don't have no relatives over there. So you go, if you come home, if you're lucky, you come home on a weekend, you go in Sunday evening, you carry a little bag of rice, so you will eat while you're going to school. Because there's no high school in your area. This is Liberia. Now let's go back to Monrovia. Monrovia, yeah, we have high schools. But how many of these people that are celebrating their relatives, and how many of them have to travel that long distance to go to high school? They have no clue what this is. In the elementary school, town, you got people that live in Biaya Choson that have to walk almost an hour. They got to get up 4 o'clock in the morning. Little kids, 10 years old, have to wake up 3, 4 in the morning. And some of them can't even walk right. They're tired. But they have to walk to school. And they have to walk back home after school. And you're talking about economy is fine. If you were to open the lid up and look underneath a little bit, then perhaps you will try. While we all grieve for these 13 people, you will try your best to say, okay, this is something that happened. And that's why when Bacchus Matthew, his group came, because here's the thing you don't know. All of these young people, and this is not what I'm telling the story about Total. It's not unique to Total. It's all over Liberia in the countryside. I grew up in Bapa as well. Okay, when I was living in Bapa, I was going to school in Grassfield, where they have another high school, Big Shot High School over there in Grassfield area. What's the name of this? A lot of people, this was a good school. Man, I finna forgetting the name. It's in Grassfield, people. I'm finna forgetting the high school name, but it was one of the good high school in Liberia. Okay, after Bapa in Grassfield, you know what I'm talking about, in around Yekepa area. Okay, I just finished forgetting the name of the high school, but I used to walk. So it's not unique to Grand Jide or Town. So when you finish with elementary school in Town, you want to go further, you have to go to Zwedru. And not many kids and their parents were allowed that. So they said, I'd like for you to go to school, but nobody over there in Zwedru. How are you going to live? I don't want you to get in trouble. Just stay with me. Let's make some fun, and we'll try to get money. Many smart Liberian kids were not able to go to school. For me, my father said, no, I don't care. They want to kill you, let them kill you. Go stay with the person. I go stay there. The people suffer. And they okay, I'm moving. The last place I stayed, the lady took me just like her own son. I didn't suffer in there. In fact, the son and myself were good friends now. I remember when she came to the United States one time, and she bought clothes. She thought for her, the son and myself were like twins. So she bought the same. This is a Congo woman. She bought the same clothes for the son and bought the same thing for me. Man from Town. The woman was just nice. Very, very good. And I'm not the only person she helped. I just don't want to call name. Because the other person she helped, he's now senator. I don't want to call his name. So it wasn't like the Congo people were just bad people. No, that's not what I'm saying here tonight. But if you look underneath and open the lid, then you will understand the anger. Okay, like I said, I got a book here. If you read this, it was just released recently. It was classified from the War College, U.S. Army War College, but it was classified because they got some lot of juicy stuff here, but they open it up. Okay. Anyway, what was happening with these young people that were up in the countryside? Every one of us anxious, we want to learn, but the possibility wasn't there for many people. Eventually, those people who say, you know what, I don't care, I'm going to Monrovia. The country people, country children, they came to Monrovia in the barracks. And what was happening in the barracks was terrible. Most of the women in the barracks was selling in Baker. The market right there by the football field was selling. And most of the money they get from selling, they're sending their kids to LU. I know a few of them. I'm not going to call their name right now. So going to school in Monrovia was not. There were a few people that were enjoying it, but many of us, we were going through a lot. And then, of course, when God smiled on me, my mom called me, said, "Come work with me at the Ministry of Education." I started working there. Before that, I was working as a store boy on Benson Street, on the new Wilmot Stubberfield Parents building. They had a tall building there at the corner of Galley and Benson Street on the south side. They had two stores. One was Spanish store. I worked in that one too, where they sell fish cup and things like that. And the man used to give me a lot of fish cup and things. I used to eat that one too. But then I said, no, I don't want just fish cup. I was getting older. I was getting, I have interest in eating raw. So I moved on to the clothes store. And I told the guy, just give me half of my salary in cash. The other one give me shoes or pants. Just so because I want to go out. That's the life. And when I started working to Minister of Education, at that time, Pa started getting involved. True story. The young people that didn't have the opportunity to go to school up in the countryside, or don't want to go to Zvedru, or don't want to go to Sunny Creek, or don't want to go to Tapetan from the villages and things like that, they decide, okay, you know what? If I'm going to suffer, let me go to Monrovia. Some of them came to Monrovia. Some of us, I came to Monrovia. I told my pa, and I'm coming back. So my mom said, okay, this is what I'm going to tell you. If you get in trouble, I'm not coming there. My dad said, if you get in trouble, none of us going to come. You go to Zvedru or you go to Monrovia, you're on your own. I said, I'm on my own. I went to Monrovia. Started struggling there. It wasn't easy. I didn't steal anything. School was a little bit difficult until I started working at Ministry of Education. But the point that I want to make here is not about me. When power came back in 1971, 72, 73, 74, you started hearing about power, you started reading power pamphlet. By 1976, they started coming to Liberia. In fact, this group, power was invited by Toba. He paid some of them their wave to come from Liberia to come over there. But many people didn't like that. Many two-way party people didn't like that. So when Pa started preaching against tougher government, there was a waiting ears. Young men at the university, they were anxious. And so when they started talking about politics, LU became a breeding ground. I didn't go to LU. I was never even LU. But I was always there. So the lady, my mom, she told me, say, you're working here, but I want you to pay attention to what is happening in this country. True story. People like Jackson, she's friendly with people like Jackson F. Dole. Countryman, highly educated. So when Jackson F. Dole comes to the office sometimes, she will call me. Say, you see that man? He's from Nima. He's not from any of the Concord settlement. But he's educated. You heard about him. Education is important. And then people like Jackson F. Dole will tell me, my son, school business, you don't play with it. The way it is school business, you don't play with it. You do well, it will benefit you. So down the leader, hey, what kind of school? Nightclub waiting for me. So one day for me. And all of this story I'm telling you is leading to this paper that I'm going to be reading to you here tonight. Why? Why was it that the military army people in Liberia, mostly all from the countryside, decided to end the American Liberian rule in Liberia? Why was that? They are not asking a question. They just want to put it out there and make other people, other Liberians look like their part. They just gather one money and boom, started killing people. And like I said, I'm not here to defend anybody. I'm not here to defend any action that take the life of my own brother. These American Liberians, they are our brothers. They are our brothers. So nobody would take agree into their demise to say, oh, I'm happy. What are you happy about? But my point, and the reason I'm doing this, if you're going to call this a history, Liberian part of Liberian history, you will be doing, I consider intellectually dishonest. If you're going to write something and don't write everything in it, and you're going to say, you wrap it up and say, this is history. Basically, what I'm trying to do here tonight is to save these people. Because many Liberians, young Liberians that were not even there, they are educated. You can't fool them. They will go deep into this thing. And that's exactly what I'm doing here for you tonight. So anyway, one afternoon, at that time I was going to Wilson High now, and I decided when my mom told me to pay attention after the Rest Riot was heavily involved in that. We went to a power meeting that morning, Saturday morning. From there, everything turned head to started. I was there when people were killed. I was there. I saw everything, most of it. When they started using a tear gas, before we load, how many people are telling us how you can get a tear gas out of your face? You go and grab potato green, rub it and wrap it in your eyes. The tear gas will go away. I've never been to war before. They were telling us these things, so I know. But anyway, one afternoon, in one of my moves, I'm big shot, blah blah, what have you. My mom called me in the office. Her name, Dr. Bertha Baker Exanko, called me in the office and said, Samson, please meet Dr. Bole. Oh, hi Doc, how you doing? He said, okay, how you doing? First time meeting Dr. Bole. Once again, she then tried to make me to understand how important education is. He said, you see him? It's a PhD, but guess what? A crown man. What crown man that I know in Liberia at that time that had PhD? Only crown man that I know called Trouble Bahai. Nobody else that I know. And you can't tell me the light skinned man that I know the Congo man you say he from Grand there. I don't see it. So I said, oh, okay, all right, mom, thank you. She said, no, you're not leaving because you're leaving. You don't believe me. This is Dr. Bole. He's working here now. He just came from the state. So I said, yeah. Then at that moment when she brought it, I said, okay, let me let her know. I said, yeah, ma. The only doctor I know around here that crime that Trouble Bahai. Well, other crime because Trouble Bahai when he got to be a minister, Grandidian was going to praise Toba and other Grandidian students that were in high school, how do you call it, LU, were frowning on that. They said, man, he's a Liberian. He's qualified. If they gave him a job, why would you go praise and say thank you? But the OPO said they're going to tell him thank you anyway. So that's how I know Trouble Bahai situation. So Dr. Bole said, oh, you don't find my? I said, what? A crown man with PhD? I stayed there, lectured with him a little bit. We spoke crown. I went home. I made my commitment from that point on. No more nightclub. That's it. No more drinking. I would drink though, but I'm not going to be drinking like the way I used to drink at nightclub. I'm going to take the book business serious. So now let me read something to you. So Dr. Bole was working at the Ministry of Education. Let me read this to you. And then when I read this, you will find out and do your own research. Why? Why was it that few Liberians, young Liberians, decided to form themselves, make themselves into a group to overthrow a government, a sitting government? And at that time, the Liberian government was one of the safest because there been all kinds of nyanga all over West Africa. But Liberia was one of the safest places. So that was a surprise to the world, of course. But let me read this. On March 10, 1980, it says, George Bole was arrested on the street in Monrovia. Downstairs, in front of Ministry of Education. He was arrested and put handcuffs on him. I saw that myself. Bole, in his early 30s, was one of Liberia's promising young men, an outsider. Listen to this, oh. The next year when you're ready to write, you better bring something good because you ain't doing it. I'll come back here again. If you don't include us into the history so that we're all going to grieve for these 13 people, then I will come back again. I'm just telling you. I'm there here. I'm still here. Okay. An outsider who was becoming a provisional member of the ruling establishment. The establishment consists almost entirely of American Liberians. The descendant of free American slaves who settled the country early in the 19th century. Bole, however, he said, was one of the country people. Those who did not have roots in America. He had managed to get to the United States and for an education and won a PhD from the University of Akron University in Ohio, which with his American wife, he returned to Liberia and soon became assistant minister of education in the government of President William R. Tubman. Listen to this, oh. But, it says, Tubman agents, the American Liberian, but Tubman agents kept an eye on Bole. They did the same thing with Duncan at the Ministry of Education. I know all these things. I'm not stupid, even though I didn't know Bole that time, but my ears and eyes were open. Okay? Kept an eye on Bole and found that even as he was working for the government, he was associating with its opponents, member of the Progressive People Party. Listen to this. One of the president, 13 president here, listen to what he's going to do now. Joseph Chesson, the Minister of Justice, charged him with treason and sedition and locked him up, along with some 20 other suspicious character in the post-stake at the Barclay Training Center, military base on the Atlantic in downtown Monrovia, that BTC. They put Bole there in jail. When I saw that afternoon, I went to the barracks because we knew. Like I said, I was not educated. I didn't know anything, but my mom pushed me when they used to have trials for these people. You know what Chesson used to do? Chesson, before he became minister of justice, he was considered Perry Mason in Liberia. He was considered a poor man lawyer in Liberia. So at one point when they were trying those some of the people that were involved in I think it was the Rest Riot or something like that, when they were trying, then Chesson walked into the courtroom and the entire courtroom went wild. LPR, who was Chief Justice at the time, sent word downstairs that they should close the courtroom down. Temple of Justice. I was there. One of the things that those days, if you want to, I'm just telling you my secret, anything secret. If you want to be considered bookman, they had the plastic bag. It's just like this, but you got a zipper on top. You put your paper in it, you close it, and you put it under your arm, and then your big book people is pricing on. Yes, no, those things you don't carry book bags. You just put it under your arm, and you start walking, and you're bookman. So my mom told me, in fact, she got one of those for me and said, put all your stuff in it and carry on, and people will allow you to go places. I used to go watch. Okay, so when they put Dr. Bole and the rest of the people in jail, listen to this, in these kinds of situations, because most of us have been listening to Tubman giving speeches. He was one of the most educated Congressmen that I've ever. Of course, I don't know anything, but I consider him highly educated. The man could speak, and he could preach too. But that wasn't all to it. This thing here, the military report here, it's a damning stuff on Tubman and his people. And when you read it, then you know. But anyway, so they put these people in jail at the back in post-stake in the barracks. Okay, and this is what they say. For a month, Bole did not see his family. And you wonder why Bole was so defensive. Why were these people were so involved into the PRC, even though they were educated? Listen to this. He was giving 25 lashes every morning. They were beating them. And I said, they say, my brother in South Dakota right now, he was crying for these people. Big man, he was in the army. He in South Dakota right now. He was crying. So when you go to the barracks, come out crying. Why are they beating these people? They were beating them. And that's not all to it. He had no bath the entire time, and he slept on a bare cement floor of the cell. They're just talking about Dr. Bole, but all of them did, which he shared with several others, eating only one meal a day. He lost 50 pounds and became very weak. Then came the rumor that on April 14, the first anniversary of the nationwide riot. Now, this is the interesting one I want you to pay attention to here. Okay. On April 14, the first anniversary of the nationwide riot to protest an increase in the rice price, had and the other political prisoner will be executed. You know, when I first heard that, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that they were planning to kill them that Monday. Okay, that was the plan. On April 14, they were going to be executed. Okay. Turbo was serving his term as chairman of the Organization of African Unity, and to protect his reputation, he had worked for on the issue of dissident. At first, he had responded to the riot with force, calling the organizer wicked, evil, and sinister men, and ordered the army and police to fire into the crowd. Turbo, according to the story, ordered the police and the army to fire into the crowd. Rest riot. And here, in this article, the family were wondering why would Liberians act barbarically against their own people. Let's go a little bit. Okay. Dozens were killed and 100 injured. But then, following the advice of one of his entourage, Turbo had rescinded the price. Okay. So, they order. They call back the rice, blah, blah, blah. On April 12, 1980, 2 days before the scheduled execution, George Bole was released from prison, not by Turbo and the Tuwi party. A group of young army enlisted men, hungry, angry, illiterate soldiers, had killed the president, announcing over Liberian radio that they have charged the country, they are in charge of the country, and then unlocked the gate of the post staircase. I don't want to go through all of this. I just want you to understand something here. So when you come out and you're wondering why, this is just some of the few things. These are just some of the few things. In Monrovia, look at the high school they have. I believe CWA, Cafeteria, all the other high school. But as a countryman, what do you have? You come from, first, for me now, growing up in the barracks, either you go to prison school, elementary school, or you go to GWGC. I was going to GWGC. Then from those two elementary schools, you go to Nipo High School. It's a junior high school on Nipo Street. Okay? From there, you go to Totman High. From there, if you're still smart now, you're going to LU. But to get to those places, living in Monrovia by yourself, you have to buy a uniform. You have to work. It was difficult for many young Liberians that don't have anybody to support them. In those days, it wasn't like that for our brothers and sisters, the American Liberians. It wasn't like that for them. Not only that, after that, they can even come to the state scholarship. Okay, for them, scholarship wasn't that difficult to get. For most of the Liberian to get scholarship, it was a war. You gotta give goats. Maybe some people give cow, but I know about goats. They have to give people goats, just so they can get scholarship to go somewhere else to study. These are Liberians. Why was the money that was coming out of those timber in Grand Gide, in other places, in Nimba, why were they not being used to actually open the country to everybody? One other interesting thing I want you to see here quickly before I close this out. Liberia, I'll say different country. Okay, let me read this other stuff here. Then I can okay. Back in 1951. Okay, listen to this. I said 1851. I said 1951. 1951. Okay. William R. Tower of Tuwi Party was elected as vice president. American Liberian with me, an indigenous Liberian who owned no property, were allowed to vote for the first time. For the first time. After American Liberian, indigenous Liberian were allowed to vote in 1951. So all the other, but in fact, let me don't do that. Previously, only the male descendant of American Liberian had the right to vote. Have the right to vote until 1951, according to this paper. And you wonder why? Why were they so angry? Why were they so angry? Nobody asking you to pay for your father's sin. No, far from it. But if we're going to write something and consider the history, we have to do better than this. We have to do better than this. I sympathize with the family members. I know what it is to have your family member killed. I think all of us as Liberians, especially after the Civil War, every one of us have that kind of experience. And those are the experiences you don't want to go through. They're painful. But if you're going to come out, if they have done this among themselves and just memorialize their family members among themselves without making it into Liberian, part of Liberian history, then I have no cause to make any comment. But if you're going to tie this thing around other Liberia and call it a barbaric move or whatever, it was tragedy. Tragedy. But how did we get there? How did we just, it didn't happen overnight. I have many old pictures here. From 1920, 1930, 1940, the way Liberians, indigenous Liberians are being treated. Your father, my father, would tell you stories. How they used to carry people low. Those American Liberians that want to travel in the interior, they carry their load. No pay, free. They tell you when you to move and when not to move. It was worse than slavery. That is the treatment that was meted against their own brothers. Even though they are indigenous, but they are Liberians. They are their own brothers. Own brothers. Do you know why Tuwi Party was even formed? Tuwi Party, according to history, was formed for dark-skinned Liberian, American Liberian. According to history, Tuwi Party was formed by dark-skinned American Liberian. So this thing is deeper than that. Look at Monrovia before the coup. Look how beautiful that country was. The city. Look at the temple, the society building over there. Where they get the money from? Where they get that kind of money to build all kinds of stuff? $10 million Tubman say he built for the executive manager. Where he get that from? He got it from Kipama. Every national resources that come out of there, they belong to all of us, all Liberians. But they sat on there And this paper that I'm reading here, I'm going to do a specific reading on this here. They tell you how many dollars trouble. This is man, unless the U.S. Army War College is lying to us. How many dollars? Trouble was sent overseas to put in his account. Let me read something else here. This one here is the love of liberty brought us here. They said, okay, that's fine. But something here where A.B. Tuber, a duffer, Tuber, went to England. Okay, right here. Let me read that. I said, okay. One man, okay, people pay. You know, they used to. It was ridiculous. They used to sell passport to foreigners. Some other people pay 150,000 so they can travel from place to place without, as a diplomat, Liberian diplomat, without they don't check them. Okay, but here's the one I wanted. In an extraordinary letter, handwritten on an airplane, a Duffer Tuber told a European business associate who had recently been in Liberia, I expect to meet you, he said in his letter. I expect to meet you in London during the first week in June to discuss the gold, diamond, and uranium project in Liberia. Bring along the rose words. Please transmit the balance on the amount given to me last night. That money they're talking about. These are not paper that they're not written from Total. This, my brothers and sisters, if you're going to do this, you don't want people to bring these things out, then be sincere. You can go and memorialize your relatives and don't call it part of the history of Liberia. It is part of the history of Liberia. But if you're going to write as such, then you go and do everything else. What happened? The people just came from Total one day and said, oh, we're going to overthrow the government. Far from it. Far from it. And those of us that know the inside and outside of the whole cool business, far from it. I'm not about ready to come tell you what happened here. I'm not going to do that. But I'm just telling you. So these are very, very emotional issues. Don't make it just because you want to sell newspaper or you want to put something in the newspaper. Because if Liberians are sophisticated nowadays, it's not day of two-week party. Where one person say one thing, everything goes. No. Some of us that have the knowledge and not able to read and not able to, I still can't speak, but now I can speak a little bit better than speaking Crown. So whatever Liberian broken English I can make, I will bring that up. I'm not going to be honest with you. You cannot be intellectually dishonest about our history. We're all from the same area with the same Liberian. It doesn't matter, Congo, Crown, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to come out and call something a Liberian history, that you know many Liberians that are still alive know about these things. Do some little bit due diligence and put some information on there that will not allow some of us to come out and bring these things up. What happened in Liberia? And let me just give you one other thing here. My uncle, Robert Toll, the singer, Ayi Baro, Native Woman Bomb Soldier, his father. So during the heat of the coup and what have you, so we went to Town. So I got in conflict with my brother and all his entourage. I said, I want to be better with them. I'm not eating with them on the table. I can't eat with before the coup. I'm the best. What kind of man there? So my father said, okay, your owner food will be on that side. So they said, okay, with a power branch over there in Minnesota, I know about this story. They kicked me out of my dad's house. The army people kicked me out. So I'm making too much noise. So my mom took me. So my mom took me to her friend's house. because I wanted to fight. You know, my father said, if you start fighting here, they will. That only one man. All the army people in the barracks, they will come and flock you here today, but nobody will be able to help you because we can't fight the army people. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make, is that these things are not something that you just run into. Okay. So you can't just come out and write these things and say these are history. Far from it. Far from it. Far from it. I'm not here to justify the killing of 13 Liberians. Well-grounded Liberians. I question their intention of all Liberians, because they were serving a government that truly worse than apartheid, and they were part of the government, but that does not require them to lose their life, because their life you take it away, you can't get it back. Let me play one last video and I'm going to open my stuff here. Now this video I'm going to play now, I want you to pay attention to those people that are going to be talking. This is some of the reason. Listen to this. I'm not even going to tell you what this video is about, because if I tell you, you might say, okay, well, I know already. But listen to this. Interesting. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio.
The most notorious is the prison camp at Bella Yella. Bella Yella is a sort of African Devil's Island, surrounded by jungle, and 3 days' walk from the nearest road. Some of the inmates are hardened criminals. Some are called security risks, and some are classified as troublemakers sent here by direct order of the president. The food allowance per prisoner is less than a nickel a day. NBC News' Robert Rogers was the first reporter ever to visit Bella Yella.
What did you come here for?
Well, as they say, they charged me for security risk. Put me in jail and send me up here for security risk.
Did they tell you what security risk means?
Well, no.
How long have you been here?
I've been here since 65.
What was your offense?
I was arrested for vagrancy.
Vagrancy?
Yes, sir.
Now, what does that mean?
Walking late hour in the night.
How long have you been here?
Since 1965, I got to tell you.
You've been here since 1965 on a vagrancy charge?
Yes, sir.
I am sent here directly by the president, and when one is sent directly by the president, the governor has to be quite strict, because he doesn't want to lose his job and he doesn't want to get where I am. So he has to be quite strict himself.
You ever think about trying to escape from here?
No, I have never. Of course, I believe, frankly, I think I can escape any jail in Liberia, except you just put me in a place and put a chain on my neck and kill me. But as the Bible says that when the leader, I think you find this in Ecclesiastes or somewhere if I'm not mistaken, I just cannot quote the book perfectly now, but it says that if you have difficulties with your leader, you must not escape, because that in itself shows some sort of disobedience or some sort of envy against your leader as a satisfaction. So I am contented with whatever punishment my leader, the president, feels that I should bear. But one thing I am citing off, I am a loyal and patriotic citizen, and I shall remain this way until death.
President Tubman frequently boasts of the peace and stability of Liberia, but he is not above using the threat of subversion to justify increasing his own powers. There has been no real trouble for years, but last October he had himself granted emergency powers, including the right to suspend the writ of habeas corpus.
There you have it, folks. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. That was Bella Yella. Bella Yella. I know most of you growing up, you heard about Bella Yella. Bella Yella wasn't a prison that you can go. But look at this. They put people in there because they were walking at night in Monrovia. And you're going to send somebody to Bella Yella. And those of you, most Liberians know the history about Bella Yella. Walking at night. working at night, and they sent you in there for vacancy, they said. Security risk. And so these are kinds of stuff that I want, we Liberians ourselves. But here is the good news about us that I want to leave here before I open the line. The young Liberians among us, educated, female, male, doesn't matter, highly educated, and they will redeem us. I'm not talking about us as country, I'm talking about us as Liberians. Because they will eventually come out. Eventually, there will be a commission. A commission going to be set up in the near future, where they will ask the highly educated, highly sophisticated Liberians, young woman, man, doesn't matter, but they will ask them. I just have that strong feeling to take years, maybe 1 or 2 years, and look into the history of Liberia. And the commissioner will come and look at not this, TRC type commission. That's not what I'm talking about. These people will start going in, because we still have these things I'm reading here. You go on the internet, you can read it from some. This other one from the University of Tennessee. The building is still there. The people have you go to Indiana University here in the United States. It's this most in fact they consider the leading academic area for Liberia, Indiana University. They have a lot of history of Liberia, a lot of stuff about Liberia, Indiana University. So there will be young people that will be commissioned to look into what happened. Why were these free slaves who themselves suffered so much here in this country, and when they were given the freedom to go back to the Africa, or freedom to stay, they decided they wanted to go back to Africa. So when they got back to Africa, I know they were not welcomed immediately by their brothers and sisters over there. But then again, the indigenous themselves, they have gone through a lot. They always have issue with war and what have you. But once the opportunity was there for them to settle down, you would think they will be inclusive. For 133 years, they refused to include many Liberians into their society. Why does it have to take that long? Knowing fully well these people were paying taxes as well. No, and that's the thing about this. The American Liberians, they're highly educated, and they are not bad people. I'm not saying that. But what happened? Why were they so closed within themselves? Were they afraid that perhaps if an indigenous becomes leader, then they will lock them out of the society? Is that their fear? Because you can't say these people were wicked. We lived together. They weren't going around shooting indigenous on sight. We lived together. So were they not able to have us as indigenous, have us to be educated just like they are, or they were? Were they afraid? And I can say a little bit, without anything, I can say yes. Because I have a trial here of Dr. Formula, the senior. The trial. And the way they were able to entrap him, according to the story, it was ridiculous. So perhaps they were scared of the indigenous being educated. But that does not negate the fact they are Liberians. It doesn't matter whether indigenous or not. If you know education make a country to survive, if you know the importance of education, why you want to have one group educated, the other group is not educated? How do you think you're going to survive if you guys live in the same country? You can't keep them down forever. And the fact that you were not able to prepare them to understand even the Constitution that that is there to guide you. Many Liberians have no clue what a Constitution was at the time. And many indigenous Liberians continue to persevere. They continue to put themselves to school. Right now in the United States, young people that when they graduated from high school, I would just say graduate because that's what I know better. But they graduated from high school in graduate, but they don't. Most of them were not from Zwedru. They're from other places, and they will come to Zwedru with a little bag of rice and eat a little bit at a time, but study hard because they know education is important. Why would you want to deny that from people? For 130 some more years, that kinds of privilege was denied to majority of the Liberian people. For what reason? And so I truly believe that because now there's no Congo country divide, it's none. So eventually these young Liberians that have no clue on how much the divide were, they will be the true arbiter of whatever it is that's happening because they will not come in with biases. Because most in fact right now my wife she crying, myself I cry. You ask my kids right now to say are you crying? They don't even know that. So how do you think now they're going to go back if they were to go back to Liberia and some of them sit on that commission that they're going to say, oh, I feel for the country people. They don't even know what a country Congo business is. They have no clue. And those are the people that are going to redeem us. Because the real history will be written after that commission comes out and they go into Sistan War. Because these things are there, the papers are there. It just need people to put those things together, combine them into one paper and say, boom, yeah, your history. And those that are going to be writing that particular paper, they will have no connection in terms of American Liberian or the indigenous. None. But they're still going to love Liberia. So before I wrap it up and open the line up here, I just want to say this to my brothers and sisters. While we all grieve for the loss of life in Liberia during the April month of April 1980, to be specific, we must do so. Don't try this time around to exclude all out of this. This is a grieving time for all of us. All of us. There were only 17 members of the PRC, and the other minister, I think that when you count them, they even reach 200. They are not representative of all Liberia. So you cannot exclude the rest of Liberia in the grieving process. If it is going to be a national grieving process, make it as such. If it's going to be a personal grieving process, fine. You have the right to do that, and you must do so, because these are relatives of yours. But you cannot exclude us and then you consider it, the grieving process, to be that of our history of Liberia. Then I will bring you back to remind you what happened, what I do know. So we're waiting again. I've been saying this. The very first time they did it was 2006, and I wrote a piece at that time explaining that I'm not going to sit here and allow people, first of all, to wrap this thing around the progressive. The progressive was yelling and screaming at the time. Listen to us, because if you can't keep these people down forever, that's not possible. The progressive was saying, do it right. There are many Liberians that are educating themselves. Even here in Liberia, they say, if a man is educated, his mind is free. You can't keep him down. And the progressive was going on. I'll give you an example. One time, Tobo went to Nima. While he was in Nima, there was a pamphlet from PAR all over Monrovia at the time. There was a threat. People were saying they're going to burn down Monrovia. So when Tobo came by, Reginald Townsend, one of the men here that was killed during the April 20 at the poll, he was left in charge. So he was making his report on ELBC, on the radio. And when these things was happening, with some of us were not sleeping until ELBC closed. And my interesting thing about me at the time, and I just thank God, the house we were living in, there's a lady here with me here in Sacramento. She also graduated from BWI, a very smart young lady at the time. She's still young, but anyway, she's from BWI, very smart person. But the majority of the people in the house, except for me, were all going to LU. And something to know nothing, but I was there. So when these things happening, the LU student, we gathered around. I call myself LU student now. I'm going to no LU, but then we gathered around, and then we comment on these things. So Reginald Townsend that night was reporting to President Tabo. Mr. President, he says, I'm just paraphrasing now, that might not be the correct quote. When you were out, these young people who consider themselves the freedom fighter of the indigenous, he said, they see Maria, they say they love, they want to burn it down from Waterside all the way to Congo Town. They say they want to burn it down. Then how they tell me now, if you're going to burn the city down, then you say you love the city, Mr. President. Then you hear clap, 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 clap. They were clapping. They were not listening. They were not listening. I believe Tova made a statement one night in such that the bullet that going to kill me, the white people ain't make it yet. I know I heard that. I'm not making it up. But they were not listening. Tova tried. He's an educated man. He knows very well that, in fact, according to the report here from the War College, Tabo was going to resign. I mean, not resign, he was going to retire. And in the process of retiring, he was trying to put some slush fund away for himself so that when he retires, he can have that kind of stuff. But one of the things, according to the paper here, one of the things he wanted to do was make sure that when he retired, that he wanted the indigenous and the American Liberian to live in harmony. And that's one of the reasons why he wanted to make sure that by the time he wasn't even rushing to get Bacchus. The first time when Bacchus then got into trouble with the rice riot, Bacchus wrote him a long letter. Of course, he later on Bacchus wrote, he said he was just making it up, but long letter apologizing. So the fact that Bacchus did explain that their intent that morning was to call the demonstration off. And Toba believed that, and because of that, he freed them. It's all in here. It's all in here. Okay. But they were not listening. There were people that were there with the Tui party. Forget it. The young people, we don't want anybody else in here. We don't want people in. It was like they like, so what? I don't know. These are Liberians. These are Liberians. And here we are every day now. We're fighting for Dr. We have to include this person, include that person into the government. But these people not forget about government. They exclude you in everything. The economy of the country, you will lock up. They prefer to have foreigner than to, okay, if you think I'm making up, count how many indigenous Liberians those days that have serious business in Liberia that you know of. Or you want to tell me the indigenous was not able to work? who were feeding Liberia. They're not Lofa County. They're not Lofa County were feeding Liberia at that time, pretty much. You want to tell me people in Lofa County they lazy? If they lazy, how can they become a bread basket of Liberia at the time? They were strong people, very proud people. They wanted to make sure they don't beg for nothing. People in Lofa County, they were not there to get hand out. And so many Liberians, if the opportunity was given, they were not going to be for hand out. If you go in those days, if you go to the Radical Market, they call it Radical Market, but those days were called Baker Market. Most of the Lofa women that were there selling, their sons and daughters was going to LDU. Because those people, they're very proud people. They don't go around begging, oh, I want this, I want that, nothing. Why were they locked up? In fact, as before the coup, one time there was an issue from the Radical Market women. They were complaining. These things are being announced on ERBC. The women were complaining. We sell Bilabo, Tower sell Bilabo. We sell coal, Tower sell coal. What one will do you and I do now? They were complaining. I'm not making these things up. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and open the line. I don't expect you to agree with me. Disagree with me if you must. Or if you're going to say something, please, let's do it with respect. These are our brothers and sisters, and we grieve for them as well. I'm just okay. Before I leave, Victor B. Smith, happy birthday. He said today, it's April 23rd. Not yet, but anyway. Mark another year of my life on planet. I am grateful to God Almighty for granting me good health, good family, and good friends. I'm one of those good friends. I'll wake you up tonight. That is good friend business. You calling me good friend? I'll wait until you go to sleep. Now I'll wake you up and see how good I am. In the last wonderful words of Steve Jobs, he said, love yourself and have self-confidence. So today I am celebrating this day. I am loving myself, and by saying happy birthday, Victor B. Smith, enjoy life with family and friends. Happy birthday, Mr. Smith. Thank you very much. Okay, let me go ahead and open the line. Folks, Samson to Liberian Public Radio. Give me a call. Let me check, please. Let me check. Okay, I am connected. Give me a call, Samson to Liberian Public Radio. Let's go ahead. Here's the stuff. Let's go ahead and play some music here. Thank you. Somebody remember the high school that I was talking about? It's in Grassfield. It's called Carroll High. I just couldn't remember. I never went to Carroll High. I went to a little elementary school right below, down the hill. So, okay.
Karama TV, enana, onyo kapora karama. ganama aye jibo basugo zakati ko pare munyo basugo lokurubi basugo zakati ko pare munyo basugo tumo wana pare tumo wana rumbe otasingo tumo wana pare waji tumo wana moye bombere kana
Okay, Eugene, I didn't say Tobo was president in 1965. I said 1951. It's here. 1951, Tobo was elected vice president. Tobo became president in 1971. Okay, so there's no way I can make that mistake because I was in Monrovia when Tubman died. In 1971, when Tubman died, I was in Monrovia. I was there for the burial. I went over there by the pavilion for the burial. I saw everything. So I can't make that up. Okay. So anyhow, give me a call, folks. Samson to LeBron Paparito. I will be doing this. This is, oh my goodness. When I came across this thing today, I couldn't believe my eyes. Folks. It's a rich history of Liberia, but one of the things that the college was talking about, and you can tell that they were fighting to maintain a foothold in Liberia. So it's also they were also trying to polish their image here. However, they diverged lots and lots of stuff. If you can go to U.S. Army War College, just type it in there in Liberian history or the Liberian coup d'etat, its impact on economic and security assistance. Report documentation page, something like that. I'm trying to see what you can type in there. But anyway, see if you can go to Google and type that in. They say unclassified. It says here unclassified. That means they it's no longer classified. So I can run my mouth on it, and I will not go to jail. Okay, because it says here unclassified. I bet. Yeah. In fact, up here also it says unclassified. So. But since you're with me and you don't want to call me, let me just read a little bit of it here, so you get the point here. On it says here background. On 12 April 1980, the oldest African republic. Oh, okay, you're calling me. Samson to LeBron Paparito. What's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes, Mr. Toa. My name is Amos, and I'm calling from Delaware.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge that this is the most informative radio show I've listened to. I mean, Liberian history I've listened to in my 49 years of life. Actually, yeah, I mean, I didn't know this history. I was 10 years old when Tobo was assassinated in 1980, right? I was about 10 years old. I've never had the opportunity to listen to a radio. I mean, to a program like this. You know, hear the history. Listening to you have a video tape from MSNBC, I think NBC or something like that.
Right,
you know, very informative. Right, very informative. Now I don't know who's giving the platform to those guys, but I privileged saw them on one platform, and one of them. Look, I'm not from any of those areas, but I mean. If we want to rewrite Liberian history or to write Liberian history, just as you mentioned, it has to be acknowledged. What about the war? The 250,000 Liberians have lost their lives during the war. I mean, so many things happen, you know, after 19 years of coup. So that shouldn't be part of history. So I sincerely agree with you honestly, history has to be, it has to encompass all the events that occur since, even prior to that incident, like you mentioned, the rice riot and other issues. All those have to be a part of history. So
Yes.
I don't know who's giving them the platform and if anybody's going to listen to them, but come on. I think I hope the intent is not to divide Liberians again.
No,
Because, I mean, those are bygones.
yes, I agree. And I don't think their intent was to divide us, but I think they continue to do this. This thing started back in 2006. I've been on this, but most of the time I don't read, I don't respond to it. But the point that I'm trying to make here, okay, for example, they have all these people listed here, and they don't have they have really Charles Raleigh Jr. listed here. They have A.B. Tubber listed here. They have Sergeant Moore. Lieutenant Moore is listed here as well. Those are people that were not killed at the South Beach that I know. Now, along with Raleigh, there were 3 other indigenous, if you want to call it as such, that were killed that night during the coup. One of them is from my own town, Town. Okay, and his name was Bebo, Lieutenant Bebo. Now Bebo's situation was when you guys went upstairs, they were going to cover a resident on the 8th floor. Bebo was at that night. He was at the guard. And in fact, somebody have warned him, told him, just stay out of it. They didn't tell him everything, but he refused. He went there anyway. But the point is, he was killed that night, refusing to let anybody go through. So he was tussling with one of the former, the late Thomas Watson, who then became vice president at the time, tussling with his gun, and the gun went off, and he was killed. Anyhow, but why didn't they mention his name here? In fact, Bebo was also buried in the mass grave where Tubbo and the rest of the people were buried. Why are they not saying those things? Why are they not saying those things? So that's Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Bill.
No, I just say, if you're going to write a history, do us a favor. Go a little bit deeper than that. They started this thing since 2006. You will want to tell me up to this time they were not even think to say, wait a minute. If we're going to add Rayleighs and the rest of the people named on here, they were not the only people that were defending the Tubbo administration at the time. There were other people that were killed. Let's add these people named on there. They're not doing that. And for me, that's just intellectually dishonest, and to be honest with you. So that's something.
Of course, yes, I agree with you. And there are so many points that you made during your introductory remarks that I really admire. Number one, see how many natives have become educated during those years, after those events. I mean, right now, I don't know how many Congos can boast of being more educated than the natives. I mean, right in those years, like you said, it was almost zero to, nothing. So, Liberia has made progress. I think let's celebrate the fact that should have pushed the country to a better direction than where it is now, instead of us, trying to relapse into the old days, the old days. It's not going to do anything because the natives have become educated, they can read. Here's part of the history I didn't know, I have knowledge to know. You should have me a whole lot, tonight about the events leading up to the coup. So, I appreciate your show, yeah, very good. But I think you are fairly correct in all of your analysis.
Thank you. It's a very interesting history of that country. That country has a lot, and the thing about it, like I stated earlier, there will come a time that young Liberians, just like you, that don't have much fish to fry in this thing, because you say, you were only 10 years old when went up, so you probably most likely don't even know how much indigenous suffering that was going on. You probably don't even know that.
No, I have no idea.
Exactly.
But I grew up in Lower.
Exactly.
I have no idea. I'm from Lower. I grew up. Look, your story is almost like mine, with a variation. I grew up, my friends, they were not doing bad way. My father was hard working, It's right out there. But still, I mean, way down there in Lofa, some village in Lofa. But they said no. I was learning how to go to school. Now, I ain't ready for school in Lofa. I mean, where am I going to go? What did I know in Monrovia or anywhere else?
Exactly.
You know, so, yeah, I mean, it's the same story. But, you know, it was a hard fight. We made it. And here it is today, you know, with my master's degree. And I mean, so, yeah, so, I mean, we should not take the country back to where it was, you know, some 50, 60 years ago. So,
yeah,
that's my take on the issue.
And I truly believe that because if you want to know true history about Liberia, there's this one guy, he's dead now, a long time ago. They call I think his name was Liverman. He wrote a lot about Liberia. And so, yes, and then also Dr. Don. Dr. Don wrote a lot about Liberia history. He's also a Liberian, but he's coming from a different perspective, which I'm not quite ready to classify that, characterize that right now. But the point is, young Liberians that will have, just like you have no fish to fry in this thing, eventually will form a commission and say, let's find out what happened. Why were these people that was running away from slavery will come to Liberia and then reestablish slavery? They were literally selling people. They were literally,
of course. That's what it was. Yeah, it was. It was, you know,
not just
were being sucked together to
but not just that. Not just in Liberia, they were selling slaves to Portuguese colony over there, Fernando. Some other country I'm not quite familiar with the name now, but they were selling people from Liberia to the Portuguese colonies to do sugarcane business and what have you over there. So why would these people? Yeah, of course. So, but what was the reason? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? And not only that, when they came in, most of them knew the importance of education. Why did they decide to exclude majority of Liberians out of this education business? Okay, knowing fully well that if the person is not educated, most likely you're gonna have issue with him. You know, so it's a very interesting stuff. But thank you for your view. We appreciate it. This is what we do here on LeBron Pub Radio. Sometimes we bring up some interesting subject matter that intend to educate people. Enlighten, not educate, but enlighten people. So
it was also educational. So yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, my brother. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. So let me read this thing from the War College here. Okay, they said the Liberian coup d'état, its impact on economic and security system. On 12 April 1980, the oldest republic, the oldest African republic, Liberia, was toppled by the military coup d'état. Today's Liberia's economy is in shambles, and former Master Sergeant Samuel K. Doe rules as a quasi-dictator, they said. In an attempt to shore up the foundering Liberian economy, the United States has expended approximately $80 million annually in economic and security assistance. This paper we examine now. This is from the War College. Now, this paper we examine the United States role in Liberia. Using Liberia, it will evaluate the use of security and economic assistance as a tool to project United States interest in the third world. Liberia was selected because of its historical relationship with the United States, the political changes that occurred following the 12 April 1980 coup d'etat, and the fact that the author served in Liberia 10 years prior to the coup and was stationed in Liberia when the coup occurred. Now, this person that wrote this thing most likely was one of the military advisors in Liberia. Okay. But it's a very interesting read. Where this guy was going out. The part that I like is the one when he started talking about how Turbo was getting ready to eventually was going to retire. But the American Liberian was getting ready to retire, and but was stashing some cash away. Okay, this one here is the America Liberian. European explorer found the west coast of Africa a land of misery. While in tropical canoe forest and inhabited by black skinny natives. The land showed little promise of wealth. They talk about Liberia because they ain't kind of told them. If they had kind of told them, they were going to know how wealthy Liberia is. They don't know that. Yet by the 19th century, both England and France have had established colony along the birth of the West Africa of West Africa on what was called the Gold Coast. Okay. The gold exported from this area was not yellow, but black. Okay, Swedish slaves suffered into the hands of ships and delivered to Europe and the Americas. By the mid 1800s, millions of black had been taken from their homelands and shipped throughout the world. Then after change and movement to abolish slavery became active both in England and the United States. In 1816, the Congress of the United States granted a charter to the American Colonization Society to obtain African land to which free slaves could be repatriated. The first ship landed on the coast of West Africa at Freetown, Sierra Leone, a British colony. They were turned away and traveled south, finding sanctuary near the mouth of the Moserato River, a site that will someday be called Monrovia. Interesting. In honor of the President of the United States, James Monroe. Okay, many settlers would die of fever, and it took several years and a number of shiploads of free slaves to establish a colony. The colonists, or settler as they prefer to be called, found a hostile environment. They were educated, black, meaning second of their or third generation American born. 100 died or left for more civilized area of Africa where the European had colonized. So that means most of their brothers and sisters, most likely they went to Ghana, places where the Europeans were there, were good. They were not prepared to cope with the environment. At first, there were numerous skirmishes between the settler and the indigenous. And this is a good one. The indigenous was saying, hey, you're stranger, where I want. Folks, this is finally a treaty was signed with the local chiefs. The colony began to flourish. By 1840, the settler had become independent of the American Colonization Society, and on 26 July 1847, they declared themselves a sovereign nation, naming their new country the Republic of Liberia. Interesting. Joseph J. Roberts was elected as the first president, a light skinny mulatto born in Newark, Virginia. I like to see Joseph J. Roberts birth certificate. You were born in Newark, then you can be president of Liberia. Now the Constitution says somebody you born outside Liberia, you can be. I like to see. I will challenge the Constitution. I was born. Where was I born? In Total. Total is that a different country? I think so. So I have to challenge that. But we want a very serious. Let's go on. Let's go. Virginia. He was the first in line of 19 presidents, all who trace their heritage to these earliest settlers who would be called Americo-Liberians. European neighbors refused to recognize Liberia as a sovereign power, even as late as the 1910. Both Great Britain and France formulated plan to partition Liberia between themselves. Woo! They wanted to. You see there. But how are they going? Which party were going to? I know, but some of us from Total were speaking French by now. Okay, they wanted to partition this. Okay, between themselves. The plan never materialized. The United States sent a gunboat to Liberia to counter the threats. Oh, I love this. I love this. She did. This is the War College report, folks. This is very interesting opening here. Okay, the United States sent a gunboat to Liberia to counter the threat. She then offered to supervise the reorganization of the Liberian government. Wow. Until the 1900, the lighter, here we go. This is the beginning of our problem, folks. The lighter color of one's skin, the more influential. You hear that? The lighter your color is, the more influential the individual. The rest of West Africa was colonized by Europe. The participation was that a totally black government would get no respect. What? So you gotta get somebody mulatto in there because if you black, you don't get no respect. What kind of business is this? What the heck is this? Okay, the American Liberian tend to intermarry. Yes, another problem here. Another problem they started a long time. American Liberian tend to intermarry with few liaison with the local tribes. Ooh. However, in time, wealthy American Liberians took tribes' wives. Oh, they like the travel with me. Took tribes' wife, father, two or more family, only one being pure American Liberian. English name like Roberts, Washington, Jenkins, Turber, and Tubman became a sign of privilege. Woo! Prestige. To this date, Liberians have lost names that are of English or American origin. You hear that? At the turn of the 19th century, the population of the settler number over 20,000. What? 20,000 settler. But they remain separated from the tribes that inhabit the country. And as late as 1980, 1.5 million, 1,500 people all trace their heritage to free slaves who control the financial and power base. Listen to this. Until 1980, 1,500 people all tracing their heritage to free slaves who control the financial and power base of the country. 1,500. And by 1980, what were we? I think we're 1.5 million, and 1,500 control the entire. What this? Then you're wondering why we have issues. Okay, who control? Okay, this American Liberian culture lag behind the European colonies. Without United States intervention in 1910, Liberia would have been annexed by British Sierra Leone, and French Ivory Coast. They're going to split up. That's it. If we're going to be split up, they're going to split up right in the middle of Nima County. Half of us and Nima, and half Nima going to Ivory Coast, and then the other half Cape Mount, Montserrat. Everybody half of Nima, and the rest of the people going to Sierra Leone. Wow, that would have been interesting. Okay, the United States took over. Okay, no, not yet. The American Liberian culture, like blah blah blah. Liberia would have been said. Okay, the United States took over the debt of Liberia, assisted in reorganizing the Liberian government, and sent U.S. military advisor to organize the military and frontier force, boosted by $1.7 million loan in 1911. The government of Liberia honored the tourship of the United States enter the 20th century. Folks, this is interesting though. Let me read on a little bit. This thing coming from where the people. Okay, let me just say again, those of you that just joining us, unclassified, they call it unclassified, but it was classified then. Report date 1988. It was classified, but it's unclassified now. U.S. Army War College. Okay, so let's read on a little bit. In World War I, Liberia claimed alliance with allies. Oh, I love this. She turned in all German living with. Oh my goodness! This is Liberia. We something else. She turned in all Germans living within her territory to the Allied forces. The Germans sent a submarine into the harbor of Monrovia and demanded that Liberia surrender all English and French residents. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, the Germans sent a submarine into the harbor of Monrovia and demanded that Liberia surrender all English and French residents living in Monrovia. The Liberian government refused. Oh, I love it. I love it. What they got? They got nothing. All they got is no go. But they were not telling anybody. They're not going to tell the German people that only no go we have. Let me take this call. Samson to Liberian Public. What's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Well, my name is Jay Dixon. They're calling from Minnesota Golden Valley.
Thank you for joining us. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah. Well, I think this is my second time watching you or listening to your profile, and I think it's very interesting watching you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you said on your show one time that you were an engineer, but I would recommend that you start writing history because tonight I started listening to everything I listened to, and I'm like, okay. Now I can pinpoint a few things that I didn't know at the time, coup d'etat happened like those days when I was just a teenager, So I learned a lot tonight from you.
Okay.
And what I want to say is that when people are reporting, story that is that, sensitive, to the history of Liberia, they should be careful. They should be tactful. They should be, specific that they are reporting things should be real. They shouldn't just say anything, that will anger other people, because history is meant to, to record things that the future can read or the posterity can read, and then go back to the next time know why it is. But what I saw that you're talking about tonight, it was terrible. That was a terrible handwriting that they put on our people that you have done at all. Because we know that people got killed during the 1982. I was a little boy, this was, in our field when it happened. We ran the house, and I never knew much of the army at the time, or I was in the 7th at the time when it happened. But people died. We know people died. It was not only a medical lesson that was killed. I know there were some of those friends of mine, that were in the street for some reason for curiosity, and they got killed too. Even I know that for sure. So when they started writing history like just 13 men, there were more than 13 men that died.
Yeah.
As we were saying, I learned one baby was killed.
Yes.
During yeah.
Right.
I learned that because his son, I think, was in the army, in the
Thomas Babel. And he had a little, he had a little brother also that was fighting the war. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can't just come and write something that we know it happened. But looking at the history, as we get to tonight about what happened from 1847 to that time, 133 years of just one party system, and you had a ruling class, and they just do what they want to do. In fact, there was no law in Liberia, as I learned, so there was no law. They were the law.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they say, why would they do? What's the law? My uncle spent years in the army. He was band master in the army. And my uncle's name in the army was Humphrey Quest.
What's his name? What's his name?
Humphrey
Quest.
Humphrey Williams, yeah.
I know who he is. He was in a band.
Okay, that's what he was. No one had it one time, one day.
I know.
Humphrey Williams.
Yeah, okay, I know.
Okay, so this over
wow.
Yeah, after all these years, I think it was 1989 when I went to visit, in the Barret. So I saw the certificate on the wall written signed by William G. Tubman, the president,
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Humphrey, Humphrey Williams. No, don't call it Williams.
Oh, Williams, okay.
So I'm wondering, Uncle, how come your last is Williams? And you laughed, son, that's a long story. I said, well, I need to know. Because we were very curious, and they said, well, I will tell you. when I was promoted to be major in the thing, because I was so good. It went before time and time started to be quiet about who the heck is quiet.
Yeah.
So I don't know this man. You're telling for you. So he said, my boss came part of me and told me, say, you know what? We gotta change that name. So the high became well imagine someone who was so good, who's an expert that was cheaper to learn how to play band LIBERIA in the LIBERIan army. But because the last name was quiet, it was denied. Can you imagine that? Now what do we have it for over a century? And even before that, the people that even though we have money for the people, we understand that. Right. We all move for them, we move with them, but that's friends. I mean, whoever got killed that time, but I'm allegedly objecting when you're writing.
Right.
And not just people that got killed. So many people got killed. Besides that, we did follow our history to from 1990 or to 1995, a lot more people dying of the too. Right. I know great. I know that villages in Nima, that West County people live in Nima County, some villages where completely people went to town, killed everybody in town.
Right.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a lot. It's a lot. So we'll do our best while we respect their right to move and carry on the bereavement of their family. For their family, I think that's okay. But I'm just saying that we need to be very careful. But thank you for your comment. We appreciate it.
You are such a good history, so just keep putting this on that. Listen to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right. Folks, I'm not a historian, I'm an engineer, but I just like reading, that's all. So, but anyway, let me go home. If you want to give me a call here, let me see what time it is now. Ooh, it's way past my time, folks. Samson told LIBERIA Public it's way past my time. Let me finish reading this paragraph, and I will try to say good night to all of you. If you want to give me a call here, you can do so. But let me read it, and I'm going to do some reading of this how do you call it, the report here. So anyway, the Germans sent a submarine into the harbor of Monrovia and demanded that Liberia surrender all English and French residents living in Monrovia. The Liberian government refused to give up the European. The gunboat opened fire, skinning a Liberian patrol boat and destroying a French wireless station on South Beach. An English statement reopened to the threat and drove the submarine. Responded to the threat and drove the submarine from the harbor. Liberia was now part of the. You see there now. You see, Liberia fought World War. What he said, World War I. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Liberia fought. Okay. All right, so the part of the war, a recognized sovereign power. Liberia's first chance for economic growth was to occur less than 10 years later. In 1922, the British colony government in the Far East had a monopoly on the outburst of rubber. Okay, that Malaysia now they talk about. An American entrepreneur, Harry S. Firestone Sr. Set out to counter the monopoly. He found Liberia in an ideal climate for rubber and negotiated with the government for the leasing of over 1 million acres. By 1926, Firestone and several other companies were operating full-scale rubber cultivation. He had introduced modern commercial to Liberia. Yet the American Liberians remained to themselves, living in community along the coast. They saw no reason to explore the interior. Living sounds in town. They didn't care for me. Even the Constitution distinguished between citizens and Aborigines who live in the interior. Folks, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to leave it as that. I will read this here someday. Let me put a bookmark on this here. Okay. So I will read this thing here someday, and then we can have fun with it. But before I leave you, I want to leave you with this. Folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public. There's something else here. Where's my other? Okay, I can't find it right now. But they listed a bunch of folks, this is a treasure trove of good find for me tonight. Today, actually, when I came across this was good find. So, but I will put it together and I will do a reading here someday. Samuel Abu, I don't know who that unknown soldier is. I don't know. People were speculating. What I heard was that that was supposed to be Master Sergeant Doe, but I don't know who the unknown soldier they have on there at that time. I don't know. By that time, this is what happened with me and the coup. The coup happened in April. I was pushed out of Liberia in July 1980. I was pushed out of Liberia. So by the time I got back to Liberia, a lot of things was not the same. So anyway, and that's the story. Once again, I want to thank. What do you bad? What do you mean by you? Please do. We need to read. Yeah. Like I said, if you these papers, this thing is not classified anymore. U.S. military, U.S. Army War College, it's not classified anymore. If you just go in there and put some, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And then another paper also that I was going to be reading here. They got lost, and if you like reading, if you know how to read, not like me. If you're from Town like me, then you don't know how to read. But most of you, I know y'all can read. If you like reading, you will find these things on a very serious note. You will find these things very interesting. Here's another thing here. Speaking about Toba, this I'm going to do before I leave. This was the third annual message delivered by Dr. Williams R. Toba Jr., President, and this is 1974. Toba was highly educated. There's no question asked. Okay, listen to this. This is Toba reading his annual message. One of the fundamental characteristics of modern democracy is the establishment of government by the people, for the people, and of the people. Toba speaking. Because of this fact, a basic obligation is imposed by the Constitution upon the executive to make regular and periodic report. This is somebody that can bring our Liberia organization. This is one of the things they don't do that can bring confusion. You hear what he's saying? You hear what I was saying here? This is back in 1974. You hear what he's saying? The Constitution imposed by the Constitution upon the executive to make regular and periodic report to the people through their duly elected representatives on the trust of conducting the affair of government in accordance with their mandate. Okay, now if a man like this, I truly believe that Toba was truly in turmoil, because on one hand he wants to do a right thing because he's educated, he wants to open it up for the young people. On the other hand, the pressure from his community, from the 1,500 people that were controlling the entire economy and the government of the Republic of Liberia, out of the 1.5 million, 1,500 people were controlling it, and the amount of pressure they were putting on Toba. So when Toba had this kind of opportunity, he exploded. You can listen to this again. Let me just read it. You can tell that he's tormented. He suffer because on the other hand, the indigenous don't trust him. They don't trust him. The American Liberian trusted him, but they don't want him to go too far to give up power. So they were concerned. Okay, now listen to this. Let me read that again. Okay, because of this fact, he said, a basic obligation is imposed by the Constitution upon the executive to make regular and periodic report to the people through their duly elected representative on the trust of conducting the affair of government in accordance with their mandate. Within this system, the government of Liberia operates. Thus, in keeping with the Constitution of the Republic, I am pleased as Chief Executive to perform my duty for the third term of reporting to you on the conduct and administration of the affair of the government of the Republic of Liberia during the calendar year of 1973. Exactly 1 year to date since I delivered my last annual message. Ladies and gentlemen, he says, as you commence this third section of the 47 legislature, it gives me exceedingly joy and great pleasure once again to extend to your honorable body a hearty welcome to the state of government, to the seat of government, and above all, to wish you God continues guiding in conducting the business of the state, which the responsibility of your position impose. Oh, if you know Bob, you something else, man. You know, you look at the kind of thing the man is saying. Look at the kind of thing. They ain't reading like somebody from Totan. You know, they think, no. We offer praises and thanksgiving to Almighty God, he said, our great provider and protector, even whose power we have all been spurred to serve the great cause for which we have been chosen, firstly by him and secondly by the citizen of the republic. International affair. I just gave you the opening. And he goes on to get, and when Toba speaking those days, that ain't 1 hour business, that 2 hour, 2.5 hours. Look at the kind of book I read. That just one day he reading you. And he's not reading from the pamphlet. No, Toba looking straight ahead. It was just too much. It was just too much. A very interesting dynamic. Okay, I have another book here also. And this one here is very interesting. Okay, this is the Armed Forces Day brochure, they call it. Okay, so in here they have President William R. Tubman, Chairman, Commander-in-Chief. He said, Father, we thank thee. Somebody was reading, Brigadier General J.J. Men's Cole. Okay, he was praying for Tower then at that time. Okay, Tower, welcome here. Dear comrades, this is where the progressive got that word. Dear comrades, he said, on this significant milestone of the 21st anniversary of Armed Forces Day, I am immensely gratified to hail and salute all the, and the men are reading with a 10-year fail. Not reading a 10-year, man was just too smart, man. I tired reading. I can't read anymore. I'm from Total. Reading that my problems say anyway. I don't know how to read. Anyway, folks, Samson told LeBron Public, we're going to be doing this thing here from time to time. Those of you that are among us, that enjoy reading history and things like that, I will do this here from time to time. There's lots of stuff. Like I said, I'm a political junkie, and so I put my hand on a lot of stuff. When I went home the last time, I was able to get my hand on some books from home. And if you go on Google and just type Liberia, there's a lot of stuff. Another interesting reading. There's been a lot of writing, Dr. H. Butman family leading. And if you read some of his writing, one thing for sure about him, he doesn't hide nothing. But he doesn't like to talk much until somebody pisses him up. If somebody writes a nasty thing about him, he will tell you the entire process. He will tell you everything from head to toe. And so when you go into Google, if you sometimes, especially the lockdown, if you like reading, you go into Google, just type HB formula writing, and you will see some of the writing. You will enjoy them. He went to man, the LIBERIA history is not easy. He went to Nima County. And what I was reading, he went to Nima County in Sunny Creek to give a speech over there to the high school. And he told the people, the opening of that, he said, if you come in here tonight expecting to see H. Boyman family educated and blah blah blah, they far from it. I'm just an ordinary person, but I will tell you the truth. And if you believe what I'm saying is the truth, then please follow it. Oh man, education is something else. It's not easy. It's not easy. Another person you can try to follow is Amos Sawyer. Well, I'm talking about when those guys were at their prime. At their prime, you will enjoy reading them. Now, Tipote, on the other hand, he doesn't write much. There's not a lot of publication coming from Tipote during those days. But he's smart, very smart, very smart. But of all Burma family, Dr. Burma family, he was just when you read his article, when you read his writing, you will enjoy. I mean, if you are progressive and if you are politically inclined, and you think back of those days, you will truly enjoy. You will truly enjoy. It's fun reading. It's fun reading because some of the words he used, how he described situation. It's unbelievable the way other people have the command of the English language and how they can splice it together so that you will be able to like you're right there, whatever it is that he's describing, you will be like you're immersed in this and you're right there. Man, reading is good sometimes, man, and you feel like you're there when he's talking. He's like, okay, I can see him. You can imagine that you're right with him, and that's the good sign of a good writer. And I will encourage all of you sometime just go on Google. You don't have to buy the book nowadays. They won't let you download it. They won't let you copy it. They won't let you print it. But you can read it. You can read it unless you purchase the book. You can read it. Okay. And so the reading it is very good. Reading it is very good. And one of the other place that I encourage young Liberians to go and read. It's this. They have a magazine called The Perspective. The Perspective. If you want to know during the war what was happening, who was involved, what was it, go to The Perspective. And then on the Perspective, on the side of The Perspective, they have years. And when you click, for example, you'll say 2005, and you click January. You click on the writing. There used to be a real debate. On how do we solve during the hate days of the war, real debate on how do we solve this war, this issue that is affecting all of us. People were writing, disagreeing with ideas. Oh man, your young people, you need to do it. Anyway, Sam Sinto, LIBERIA Public Radio. Let me get out of here. And I've been out here for a long time here tonight. Like I said, it's very good to have you guys here tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Same thing to LIBERIA. Folks, I'm not a historian. I got no clue on history. The other total engineer. That's it. I don't even know anything. So please, let me get out of here. Thank you very much, and I'll say good night to all of you. Good night, folks.
Look at this,
Yeah.